Okay, pilots, we're gonna do some experimenting. Now, I made them a little short, if you hadn't seen it. But none of that's glued. None of those hinges was glued. Now, let me get a little closer maybe. Uh-oh. Okay. Putting our hinges on our canopy. Sounds like a bad idea. Because it's kind of weak. Look at it. Just kind of moving around there. Moving around. That's the type I used in this one. Just little nylon hinges. You know, we got hinges laying around in our hanger. I get a bunch of them every time I buy one of them LX models. They send you just a buku of different ones. And 3-wing has got a couple different types. They got this little square box type that kind of opens and closes, you know. And then they got these other little T or I-beam looking ones. See? Now I've put the LX model into this one, and I've got 2 3-wing square type and the Avante. We're gonna glue that in here in a little bit, but first I've got to do a little examining here. Okay. What I've got here is you got your tooth goes into this hole and then holds it, right? Okay. Now just an old canopy. Just an old canopy. But I like this shape right here. Okay. Yeah, I know it's big. I know it's big. I'm gonna cut this all to pieces here now because I think I can use the other piece here that I'm cutting out of it for the Avante. Got the other piece here. So. Servo leads in the way there. Okay. That's almost, almost, pal, it's a perfect fit. We'll get you in close here in just a second. One side's falling down because you're gonna see it in just a second. There's no foam on this side over here. Okay, you see my servo lead's going down in the hole there. You see I'm trying to see the plastic. That gum thing, you can't tell where in the hell it's pointing. The plastic overhang coming out of the hole, and then down on the sides there, that plastic goes down. I don't know if you can see the edge of the plastic going down. But I'm gonna glue that in there. But first, I'm gonna be putting some holes where my hinges go in here into these holes. Okay. I actually want to get this back out. Now what I've got to do here is cut this a little bit shorter right here. I'm gonna stick it back in there just a second. I was wanting to see if I need to cut any. Nope, I'm gonna leave that. Okay. On my sides, I'm gonna leave that complete area there on it. But on the top here, I'm gonna be cutting a little section, little piece out of it here to where it won't have that overhang like you were seeing. I want as much area to glue to that foam and reinforce it right here at this little area. So it'll hold them hinges and keep it from ripping the foam out. And you say, Eric, what more are you doing this for? Just take the thing off and lay it on the ground there. Well, that's why I'm doing it, because I'm tired of laying this thing on the ground, laying it on the plane, it slide off, it fall off on the ground, put a big dent in it. Well, I'm gonna see if I can stop that. And have a place for it instead of laying on the ground or laying on the wing of the jet. Let me see here, let me get a little bit more here. Well, I could do all this pilots and the thing just I mean, I don't think it's gonna fly off in the air. If anything, it's gonna help it hold it on the jet. Because that was the main thinking of this, is when I get my Dynamo Meteor EDF jet, the canopy has a tendency of flying off with you. So I'm going to do this to it. I thought about this when watching actually pilots. I was watching a Brian Phillips video, and it was on the Meteor, and his canopy kept popping off, so he put tape across here and then taped his canopy down. But he didn't tape this seam up right here. He left it open where he could open and close it, but he had that tape all in here. And I said, well, probably better if we could use hinges there instead of tape. So that's what gave me the idea. I'm not stealing his idea, or, you know, I ain't copywriting this stuff. Anybody can do it. All right, let's see how it fits now. All right, now where it was overhanging, I've got the corner coming up here that I've got to clip off here. So for one thing, I'm going to make sure, yep, that's where it's going to be sitting. line somewhere if it does come off. Get down in that EDF, that would be the bad thing. Okay. Just cutting that off. Would not be good. Got that EDF. Okay. Now I finally, eventually got kind of a shape like so. I'm going to take a piece of rough sandpaper. .40 grit sandpaper. I'll rough up that outside edge. It's going to be sticking to that foam. I'm going to take an owl. Where's my sharp owl? The angle of my hinge is so, okay? My hinge is not going straight in, okay? It's not going straight in. It's going in an angle downward, okay? All right, you put it straight in, you got very little foam up here on the top holding your hinge, okay? You understand what I'm getting at? So I made my hole in an angle downward. And on the other type of hinge, like that one, I made slits. Now note the hole in the hinge area. Well, you get glue in that little hole right there, and yeah, it'll hold. I got plans for that type too. We'll see that in just a little bit. So I'm going to take, my owl and make an even more up and down hole. Okay, I'm going to make that hole pretty good because I want a lot of glue going down into that hole and sticking to that piece of plastic. More or less making a stilt there to hold on. And then I'm going to take my owl and see, yep, I'm coming out through the back side there on the inside. That's exactly what I want it to do. All right, I've got some kind of glue there from the factory, and it hides from me when I go to grab it and get it out. Now I've lost my tweezers. What have I done with my tweezers? Imagine that. Get out of my way. Look here. For the love of RC. Okay. Now, I'm also going to take my owl. This is going to have to be done. I'm going to take it and make small holes where that piece of plastic's going to be up against that foam. I'm telling you, Pots, I want this thing to hold on to this here now. I'm not taking a 3D printer and printing out a base. I'm coming off this off the top of my head. And if you know me, you know, I ain't much up there. Just a little bit. Enough to survive. Knowing how a country boy can do. Alright. Now, I'm going to take my hinges. I'm going to leave them in there right now. I'm going to take some glue. Let me do something else. I can get my Vaseline. I got to get ready to get my hole ready. But the Vaseline ain't for it. Vaseline is for the hinge. You put a little bit of Vaseline on your hinge. It keeps it from the gluing it together. So let me get that ready to be able to do. All right. On my straight head screwdriver, there it is. Straight head screwdriver to spread the glue. I want to squeeze some down in the hole here. notice. Note that it's dripping on the inside. That's good. That means I got glue all the way through the hole. And the hard part's going to be getting it spread on the top. So what I thought about doing was putting the glue on the piece of plastic on the top there. And then put it in there. Just putting a little bit, not no big wad. Now, I've got a little bit coming out the top here. I want to keep that clean. I want to keep it off the bottom. I don't want no obstruction for the canopy lip to go down into. Let me get that off. And then we're going to go with it. Put that in there. Now, yes, I'm swagging it here. I'm just kind of wild-ass guessing it. But I can always trim the little lip on the canopy to fit in this slot like it usually will. It's been raining today. Alright, what I might have to do is put something up in there first though. I want to get my hinges going here. Some Vaseline on it. A little Vaseline on it. Kind of bend it up and down there a little bit so that you'll know that it's going in the right angle. Yep, I'm moving the hinges and pushing that plastic up there so I know my hinge is touching at the back. I'm creating a mount there instead of just a hinge stuck in the foam. Now, you don't want to get the Vaseline all over the little spike there, but make sure you get it on that hinge. So if you don't, you're in trouble. That ain't fun trying to get that hinge back out and replacing it with another one. Not fun at all. Alright, now let me find something. I think it's going to hold up in there except for this one side over here. Don't want to stay up because there's no foam there holding it down. He's stiffening up. You getting a stiffy? Yeah. Alright. Let me get this glue off my fingertips. Alright, now we're gonna let that dry. Much more foam in this area right in here. It's about a 1/2 inch thick. Okay. So I'm gonna get my piece here that I had left over. Let's see here. It's kind of wide, kind of wide. Kind of wide. Let me see here. All right. I don't know if that piece is going to be big enough. Okay. Got a different old canopy here. We want to use that big one. Yep. Went right in there, didn't it, Pops? Went right straight in there. Went right straight in there. I'll never find it. There it is. Went right straight in there. Make that corner there good and straight. Not no rounded corner, but a good stiff corner. Okay, you gotta spread them out a little bit. Not too far in. And relax them a little bit. Like a glove. Okay, now the reason I'm doing this one like that, get one of these hinges out here. I'm going to show you what it looks like. We got our hinge here. Okay. All right. Now, note the angle here. Okay. Now on the inside here, it goes into that angle. See. So where the hinge is going to fit here in the front of the canopy. Now see, it don't fold down no further than that. It don't come to a close, but it's enough to where this angle is the right angle to glue into that canopy and clear. So when I put one of these into the canopy, all right, the bottom of it, the bottom of the hinge here, okay, on the bottom, it's going to be the bottom of the hinge. It's going to be gluing to that piece of plastic that I'm putting in here, because that slit is all the way through, so that will slide into the slit, and when it goes all the way through, that plastic's going to be on the bottom facing of that hinge, creating a mount. See? Again, when I made my slits, I went down into an angle this way, not straight out, because you just don't gonna have enough room up here. Now I'm telling you, it's just gonna pop through. And I don't even know if this is gonna work. This is just an experiment. Let me get this thing all done and do a few testing, and then maybe I'll let you know later. Okay, pallets, it seems to be working, or no, don't do that to you yet. Don't do it. Don't do it. I tell you. Let me see. Yep, that was right. It's like so. Okay, now let's get our hinges back out of this. Now this is pretty thick right in here, in this area here. So I'm thinking just a gluing into it there is going to do just the job, just fine. So we're going to leave that just like so. Get these with some Vaseline on. Let's get ready here. You just try not to get it all over the hinge, just or the little areas you're gonna be gluing, but man, you just got to get it onto that hinge. You just got to, mister. I don't think Vaseline is really gonna do any damage to your foam. These other products out there, I'm sure that you can put. I even put Vaseline on my wheel axles to keep them from screaming. I won't have to mix this up, this epoxy, because that was my last tip. Let me get some of that going. Put some on the top, right? Using a little small screwdriver, just getting it in there. Still trying not to get in on that front facing there where the hinge will actually be. I don't want to put too much there. I'm just putting it on the edges here where that mount's going to be gluing. Alright. I'm just taking my screwdriver. I'm just going to try to get some just right in that channel and press it in there a little bit. Right on the channel. Not all over it, just right there in the channel. Putting a little bit in it. So when I push that hinge down in there, it'll force that down into the groove. We're hoping. Yes, yes. All right, let me get my piece of plastic in there first. Clean my hand off a second here. With that angled shorter end down. Force that hinge in it. And push up on that piece of plastic because it's going to be sitting right on that hinge. Okay. Next. It's hard to push that thing in there when it's moving on you. There we go. Get on in there. You gotta keep pushing up on that plastic to get the back of the hinge to go up, where the hinge won't be down, stopping your little lip there from going in. You can see my hinge is already coming up to the top here a little bit. But I'm going to hold this here a little bit because I want to make sure that don't go down. If it goes down, I'm going to be in trouble. That'll stop that lip from going in. Oop, got a little glue on it right there. I'm having to hold this piece up in there, so I'm going to have a little bit of glue on my fingers. Let me make sure that I don't have no big pile nowhere. Move that out a little bit. That's right. Let's give that a couple minutes here. Watching glue dry. Now, I'm not going to be able to put the canopies on there tonight. Got to let this dry. Just kind of touching it, making sure it's not gluing my hinge up. Trying to get them back there as far as possible. Sometimes you got to cut a little groove in there to clear your hinge, and whatever, if you're doing an aileron, a rudder, a elevator, or a canopy. Sometimes you got to cut them little grooves in it there so your hinge are clear. And that was another factor in choosing this hinge. Not only the shape worked right, but it's white. Imagine that. Imagine that. Well, pilots, I'm not going to sit here and make you watch the glue dry. I'll glue the rest of it on later. I'm out.